Hey folks, we're live. It's just me today, Nicola, for our technical analysis on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. And I just want to warn you that the internet, for some reason, is really struggling with its bits. So hopefully we have enough bandwidth to do what is going to be a very, very important live stream. Would love for you to like the video and even share it on social media if you could. Help us out. We're a new channel, and our channel is all about tutorials on technical analysis, mindset, scenarios that could affect price action, and how to trade the price action. So let's get down to it, shall we? And I am just crossing my fingers that we are going to have enough bandwidth for this. So let's just go, and you put in the comment if you're not getting it. Oh, and just before we start, I am just reminding you the Conscious Crypto event that we have in October, which is going to be 3 days of workshops with all of our favorite YouTubers, Crypto, DaVinci J15. We've got Didi Taihutu from the Bitcoin family, Crypto Wendy, Shahun von Langer from the blockchain, Marzel Money. We've also got Michael Rosmer, who's coming in from Capital Citizen, so looking at offshore and taxes. The early bird special ends at the end of this week, so you've only got a few more days to lock in that $400 discount. I've put a link in the description here for you so that you can click here now, open the browser up so you don't forget to go and have a look and get your ticket. We're going to be doing strategies to set you up to become a millionaire, multi-millionaire, for some of you a billionaire, in the super cycle that's probably going to start around about the time we go into the event in October, which is why we have put it there. But what is happening right now? Well, it looks like we're heading up, right? And there's no stopping us. But there's a few warning signs that we need to pay attention to. Yesterday, when we went live, we were looking at this megaphone, which is a bearish pattern. And in this market, the patterns haven't always been playing out exactly. And in this instance, we broke up instead of breaking down. And what we had said when Teresa was with me, we'd said that you don't want to trade this pattern in the middle. You want to wait for it to come back down to this line, post a couple of green candles, make sure everything is looking good on the RSI to go up. And we see that we had a bullish divergence showing we were going to go up. We had the RSI turn up. There was volume starting to come right in here, and we just shot up. So congratulations for those of you who took that trade. You may still be in it. So now, this is what we need to be thinking about. This is a bull flag. Bull flags break up to the upside more often, 80% of the time, and they break down to the downside 20% of the time. So we need to be very, very careful about making sure you're placing the long in the right place or preparing for a short. Now let's look at the bearish scenario. We had a great big huge CME gap created, right? The price of Bitcoin when the CME closed on Friday to the time that it opened yesterday at 4 o'clock US Mountain Time created a huge price differential. CME gaps get closed more often than they don't get closed. Around 95% of the time, we either go up to close the CME gap or we come down. In this case, it's down. So we don't want to get too euphoric about where we're at, because we've got this hanging over our heads. And usually if we go up and up and up with the price, we could see a really strong crash coming, or a big retracement further down the track within the next week or so. But usually the CME gap, if it's going to close this week, it'll close by Wednesday. And if that happens, then what we're looking at is this is not a what do you call it? This is not a bull flag. In fact, it is a Bart Simpson. And a Bart Simpson drops as quickly as it goes up. So what we want to look at is, if we're looking at placing a short, you're probably not going to get the traditional confirmation that it's going to short, because if this is a Bart Simpson, it does exactly what the other side has done, which means it just suddenly drops. So you're going to need to look at catching it at around the price point of maybe 37,838. Obviously, not a financial advisor, you need to do your own TA. But to be on the safe side, we don't want to fake out like it drops down and then it just comes back up into the pattern. You want to be looking for signs of whether we're going to head down and just catch it. For me personally, I'm not going to short it. It is way too risky because we could also come down, hit the top of this descending triangle that we have been in for a couple of months now. Here it is here. We come down here. We go up, we come back down, we touch this line, we bounce off of it, and we don't go down to close the CME gap, right? Because that is a possibility. And we bounce off here and we go up. So what I'm looking to do is to set myself up for a long, either if we come back down here and retest the weekly open at 35,592, if we bounce off that, that's a good time to enter the trade. If we blast through this and we come back down off here to retest this line that we've not crossed in months, we come back and retest it, which is what I want to happen, because then we've got a stronger foundation for going up to higher prices. We bounce off of there, then obviously that is a good time to long. Or if we're going to get crazy today, which is also a possibility, if we break up above this line here, let's say at about 39,566, we could just wick up to the golden ratio. No, that's not the golden ratio. That is the golden ratio of the market structure of the Fibonacci support and resistance. We're going to be at 40,000, about 40,008, right? We could then come back down into the pattern and drop down. So I think it's risky to long the traditional way, which would be look at the breakout, wait for it to come back down, come back up and test support, right? And then you long. I wouldn't be doing that just because we're right under the resistance, and you don't long under a resistance line because you could hit it, turn around and come back, and we've seen lots of U-turns. I would be waiting till we get over, let's say 40,050. And then if we retest this golden Fibonacci, because this is a huge support and resistance line here of the entire market structure from this whole bull run, if we go up above that, then we're probably not only going to go to 42,500 to fulfill this bull flag, we're also going to be looking at going and especially if euphoria gets in, and then if FOMO gets in and what have you, it is possible that we would go all the way up to the next Fibonacci line. I mean, this makes sense here because we do have resistance, and it's pretty strong resistance, but I'm just giving a little bit of a warning that psychology also plays a factor here, and people are so sick and tired of being down in the doldrums with Bitcoin. If we get up above anywhere near this, we could just see a run up. So be aware of that. And we talk a lot about trading strategy here. So one of the strategies that Teresa and I have is that when we reach the target with a concept that we could go higher than the target, we'll take 75% out, 80% out, 90% out of the trade, leaving that final 10 to 20% in, to ride it up to wherever it's going to go. And if it takes off, we'll scale back into the trade. But we've taken profit out here in the eventuation that we turn around and reverse back down. We don't wait and leave it open for days when we're in this volatility of a market. So that's what we've got for Bitcoin. Thanks so much for liking. I can see most people have liked. That's really awesome. It's a very small, yesterday was one of the biggest live streams we had, and we went on for an hour and a half talking about trading CME gaps. So make sure you go back to that, because even though we were looking at price action, we were looking at what's going to happen over this week. Today, I'm just looking in at the tighter trades. We are a little overbought here on the RSI on the 4-hourly, which means we are overdue for a correction to the downside. So my sense of it is that even though it's looking very, very bullish, it's possible that we could go to the downside. So now let's have a look at our indicators to see if that can help us. I like to use the Ichimoku cloud. I use the cracking Ichimoku cloud, and we're still good. We've got the conversion line above the baseline. We've got the steep incline here, But this is danger zone. See how it flattens out on the green Ichimoku cloud? In my experience, whenever we see this flattening out on the Ichimoku, we can often see a little bit of price manipulation to either way. We could either dump really fast without noticing it, or or pump really quickly without noticing it. So you need to put some alarms in. You need to get your alarms in really tight so that you've got your alarms in, you've got your trades set up, and you're ready to just push play when when the direction is confirmed. But at the moment, this is bullish. We could still though come down and still be bullish. Like if we do come down, hit that EMA, which is down here, and then because we're coming up here, we could bounce back really quickly. So this could be a wick, which is why I'm not trading it unless I actually happen to catch it, because we could just wick, given that Ichimoku has a really sharp incline, and then look at this, we're still inclining, which is suggesting upward motion. So now if we turn that off and we go to the EMA, the 4 EMA, which is, for those of you who are new to the channel, this is the indicator for EMA at Philcone, and the settings for that, thanks to Crypto Jack, who I love the channel, we put in length 1 is 8, 13, 21, 55. Those are the EMAs that we're looking at. We don't have any evidence of crossover here, so this is really wild. There's no evidence of price crossing over. We've got blue on top, green, yellow, red, exactly what we want for a long. And then when it crosses over, so that here's where it crossed over, here we've got red on top and it's reversed, red, yellow, green, blue, then we have got that downward action, which is a short, right? So we're not getting any of these lines coming close to each other like they did here. We're not getting them come anywhere near closer to suggest we are going down. I'm just saying, be aware of that. And when you're trading, put in really tight stop losses. In my opinion, that's what I would be doing, because you can always jump back in at a lower price. But if you have wide stop losses and you're over leveraged and we do come back down here, you don't want to get wrecked. You don't want to get liquidated, right? You want to hold on to that capital, because if this is indeed a confirmed breakout, which would be confirmed if we come back down here, retest it, come back above the golden ratio, and we're around 40,100, then we're back on the table for heading back into a bull run. So trade consciously and trade carefully with Bitcoin today. Let's have a look at Ethereum. I'm just racing quickly through today on Monday because we did an hour-and-a-half live stream yesterday. We set up the trades for the whole week yesterday, so please go back and see in our live stream playlist. Gorgeous, gorgeous W. So W is a trend reversal pattern, and when we see it like this, perfect, where the second part of the W, we've come back down as a higher price than where we started it here. And when it's this big, going over several days, I mean, this is like 1, 2, 3, or not quite 4 weeks, that is a pretty stable sign that we have a trend reversal happening. And if we have a trend reversal happening in Ethereum, then it's more than likely, obviously, Bitcoin is a trend reversal. So I'm not saying those lower numbers of like a $700 or even a $1,600 Ethereum are off the table, or Bitcoin's going to go under 30,000, go back to 20,000. They're not 100% off the table right now, but all of our indicators are showing a bullish turnaround in trend. So the top of this, breaking out of this W, is going to take us to about 31.7, what is that? 3,178. I've put 3,111 there just as a mental note for myself to take profit there, because sometimes some of these patterns have not been getting all the way to their target. So I would take most of my profit off there and then ride it up to wherever it's going to go. So for an entry point for this, we want to get a clear breakout of the neckline. So traditional TA is break out from the resistance line, come back down to test it so it's now support to get a bounce, and then place the trade above where the breakout was. And the reason why I think that's the conservative approach and that's the approach to take in this instance is because we also have a CME gap for Ethereum around 2040, which means, and this can still happen with W's, we could, and this is an upward channel, right? We've got an upward channel which breaks to the downside, which means we could still get some downward price action and get a bounce off of here and then go up, or because we came up in an ascending channel, it is also possible that we could break down to the downside, break back into the pattern, go through the CME gap, wick down here really quickly where the bottom of the W is, and come back up. And then we're in bullish, in our bullish scenario. So be very, very aware that those two things could happen when you are when you're placing your longs with Ethereum. I'm personally waiting for a confirmation to the upside, because if we look at the Ichimoku cloud, I think we're still bullish on the 1 hour. Right, look at this. We're hitting resistance. So if we keep hitting resistance, we could come back down. But with the Ichimoku, see how we've got a decline here and then a straightening off? That, to me, sometimes when we see this, we do see a little bit of downward action before we continue on with the bull run. And the RSI is a little overbought up here. It's not too big of a problem with Ethereum, because I've seen the RSI up here go on for hours and hours and hours without a correction. But just be aware of that. So I think it's time for caution. Like, you're looking at putting trades in, you want to make sure that you are doing proper traditional TA, waiting for the breakout, waiting for the confirmation, and then trading it when it gets to the top. And you know what? If you miss out on it because you're not watching it, it's okay. The market's going to give you another opportunity to make some money. So now let's turn off the Ichimoku and look at the 4MA. And you can see that none of these lines that we've got blue at the top, green, yellow, red, perfect for a long, should have entered it into here though, where it crossed over, right? And then keep this open. So we don't have any narrowing of these lines. So you want to watch for the narrowing of the lines to see if we're going to come to the downside. At the moment, like, my general sense of it is that it's like people are really tired of low prices and they've got excitement back. So we just might see a little bit of FOMO pushing the price up a little bit more before we get a correction. And we should know within the next couple of hours, because if we keep going sideways on Bitcoin, if we keep coming up against resistance here for Ethereum, eventually we will drop back down. And we could drop back down here for Ethereum at the bottom of the channel and bounce back up. Or, as I said, we could go all the way down to the CME gap. So let's go over to the 4 hour because it's easier to see. You want to be preparing your trades, making the decision. Am I going to short this? I'm not shorting it. I think it's way too risky to short these two short setups. For me personally, but that's up to you what you want to do. I'm setting up for a long. So I actually have a cheeky buy order in down here at 17.19 in case we wick down and we pick it up. And I also have a buy order in just under the CME gap on a really low leverage in case we keep dropping down. I don't want to get liquidated out. So those are your options for Ethereum. But here's the deal. If we go back to the daily, I mean, you cannot argue with that W, right? There's no arguing that is one big, oops, I got the wrong tool. One big W signifying trend reversal. So if you have a bias that we're going to go to those lower numbers, I think we're getting to the point where we can say that may be getting taken off the table as we speak. So let's wait to see, are we going to retrace? Where do we trace to? Bounce off of it, confirm the bounce, get into the long and ride this up to at least 3,100. I had 3,111, right? This was just a note I took off of, I think this was a note I took off from watching Crypto yesterday. Does anybody have any coins that you want me to look at? If you do, like us, help the channel out. We're a new channel. We're a tutorial channel. So we're teaching as we go through, as we go through our technical analysis. We're not a signals channel. I think it's more important that you know how to trade rather than, you know, how to follow me, because I'm not always online, right? And if any of you are interested in coming to our private VIP mastermind called Crypto Ninjas, the links for that are below in the description so that you can go and see what we're on offer. We do trainings every week live on Zoom, so you get a real good opportunity to get trained up in good classic technical analysis. XRP's the same, right? At the moment, this looks like a bull flag. And the target, depending on, because this is sloping up, we don't know where the breakout is. So give or take a few pips, we're looking at 71 cents. I think that there's a bigger target though, because if you come down onto the daily, we have actually confirmed a breakout of this descending channel that we've been in. So we are already in a long, right, all the way from down the bottom here. Congrats to those that are still in it from here. But the target of this, the first take profit of this, because see how we've come down this channel, we've come up, we came back down to test this as support, and then now we've broken up. So we're actually already in play on this. The first target is going to be 73 cents and the next target is going to be 78 cents. And then if we get really excited, see this is an descending wedge here, or descending triangle, sorry. The target for that is this line here. We take the line there, top to bottom, where the candles are touching, come back to the breakout, and that could take us to just beyond the Fibonacci. We might not reach 86 cents altogether. We might hit 84 cents and reverse back down. Oh, good, Said. You said XRP play as well, and I'm doing XRP. So here's how I trade this, right? I scale in and out when we've got a volatility in the market rather than leaving it open, because the longer you leave it open, the more fees you're paying. And I don't like paying fees when there's not a lot of profit sitting in the trade. That's my personal strategy, right? So there's a long coming up. If we don't have a Bart Simpson and come back down to retest this here, the top of this descending here where we had a little bit of a bull flag there at around 60 cents, we could come down and retest 60 cents, maybe come down to this Fibonacci 58 cents if Bitcoin decides to reverse down. XRP doesn't always follow Bitcoin, but you want to watch what Bitcoin's doing as well. We're overbought on the RSI on the 4 hourly, but because we've got lots of bullishness happening here, you want to trade this breakout and then ride it all the way up to the top, taking profit as you go at those points that I mentioned before. The first one would be the bull flag at 71, maybe 72 cents, is it? Just depending on where it breaks out. And then the next one would be up at 84 cents. And then the final one would be at 86 cents. But at this stage, if we start getting euphoric here, one of the things about XRP is that it just keeps going. So you want to monitor that, and you can just scale out, take your profit out and scale back in on the smaller retracements. So on the 1 hour, let's go in and see what's going on the Ichimoku. Yeah, see, look, Ichimoku is showing a potential dip, but because we're already in the middle of the pattern, it could just dip and bounce off of here. So this is another waiting, guys. Patience is important so you get an entry. When you're doing margin trading, you don't look for the lowest price to enter. That's spot trading. You do that when you're spot trading. For margin trading, you're looking for the price that's going to have volume and momentum behind it to push away from your entry point so you get into profit quickly and don't reverse and end up sitting in the red until we get a reversal. So entry point is really important. So we're waiting for a break to the upside above this line here, approximately at around 67,873, because this is just above this wick. and or we're waiting for it to drop under here. If you're shorting, again, I wouldn't short this because a lot of the shorts are getting wrecked in this volatility market. It's the really big shorts, I think, that are profitable. These small ones are a little bit too dicey to do it. And you can see the Ichimoku signified a buy signal here, right here, where these two touched and then they separated. So this is pretty much looking like we've got further upward action. So that's it. As I said, a really short one today. Hopefully those of you who came in the middle have rewinded to the back to the beginning. So you saw what we said for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then finally XRP, as well as just letting you know the early bird ticket price is off the table at the end of this week. So there's a link in the comment section. There's a link in the description section. I recommend you click it now so you can look at it afterwards and decide whether or not this is going to be for you. And here's how we look at it. The number one mistake that a lot of new traders particularly make, and some cocky older traders, is they don't continue to invest money in their training. So if you want to be investing in your training, especially as we're coming up to the super cycle, to hear what people like M Crypto have to say, because they're going to be talking about things that they don't share on YouTube because of censorship and deplatforming, DaVinci J15. You invest in that now, get ready for that super cycle that's going to create millionaires, multimillionaires, billionaires. So you've got the right strategies, the right mindset, the right coins to maximize how much you can make in that. If you don't invest money in yourself, you actually invest money in yourself by getting wrecked and by losing trades that you shouldn't have gotten into in the first place, just because you didn't really know what you were doing, right? So this is one of the reasons why we're doing this, and we've got lots of speakers, a really good lineup. We're going to be talking about offshoring your tax burden so that you're maximizing your profits, minimizing your tax. I'm going to be talking about overcoming patterns of loss so that you don't have the psychology of placing losing trades. We've got a couple more speakers here we haven't put in here yet. Marcel Money and Jeroen von Lange are going to be teaching classic technical analysis, and Marcel in particular is going to be helping you with your portfolios for those of you with VIP tickets. So that you can get one-on-one help. This isn't going to be like videos on YouTube when they're talking. This is workshopping. You're going to be asking questions. You're going to be getting things that you didn't know or wanted to know answered. We also have panels of experts on topics. We've got Didi Taihutu coming on this panel here, talking about the indicators that you need, how to set them up. Then we're talking about bull run exit strategies and predictions of when it's going to happen. And we've got Rob from Digital Asset News joining us on that panel with Crypto and DaVinci J. We haven't put up our tax specialists. We've got a couple more tax specialists in here talking about American taxes, European taxes, Australian taxes in general, international taxes, so that we can be aware of regulations. And then, of course, Michael's going to talk a little bit more about the keys of building international structures for tax minimization. We're going to be talking a lot about mindset and managing your mind during the dips and not being too afraid to step into a trade because you lost the last one. So mindset is going to be really important to master in this super cycle that we've been saying is probably going to start around October. What to do with all of that Bitcoin? What do you do? Do you give it to the tax man, or are there ways that you can use it to acquire other assets or stable coins and what have you? And then we've got Crypto Wendy and hopefully Ian Balliner from Tokenmetrics. He hasn't confirmed yet, but if it's not him, we've got somebody else lined up to speak so that we can talk about altcoins, DeFi, NFTs. Which ones do you hold for the bear cycle? Which ones do you dump? Which ones aren't going to be around as we go, and they're not going to survive the bear cycle? And which ones do you need to be into for the super cycle to maximize your profits? So I would go and click on that link right now. It's in the comment section or in the description section here, just so you don't forget, because I know we get busy and we forget to come back to it, because the early bird special tickets are off the table. They're really cheap right now. You're getting a $400 discount for all of these workshops. Your ability to speak with some of these traders and tax experts and and also psychology experts to get everything lined up for you to take advantage. Maybe you're the next millionaire, maybe you're the next multimillionaire, and maybe you're the next billionaire, depending on where you are in your portfolio. Well, do you have the strategy for that? Because if you don't, this is where you want to be. And if you're not sure of the strategy, or you just want to increase your odds and your chances, you want to come anyway, just because we're always about learning more and more about, what is going on in the market as it unravels, as well as more advanced technical analysis training. So that's it from me today. We are doing live streams every day at 10:30 Pacific time, US Pacific time. It's 11:30 my time, all the way up till when we have the big breakout back into the bull cycle, because we want to be with you every day, helping you during this volatility, so you don't get wrecked and you're making the most of this turnaround that looks like it is. I would say 95% looking like we are turning around and having a trend reversal. The bottom is in, right? And maybe 5%, maybe 3% chance of those lower numbers, but more and more it's going off the table. And we want to help you with that on a day-by-day basis. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel, we would love that subscription. We are a new channel. We're doing really well. And then also check out our channel, because we upload daily tutorials as well on various aspects of technical analysis and mindset. We've got a whole lot of Bybit tutorials there as well, all helping you to succeed. So I don't have any other questions or any other coins in here. Thanks everybody for liking. Be sure to hit that like button if you haven't already. Help us out with that algorithm to get this out to as many people as possible, so as fewer people as possible get wrecked during this volatility market. I'll see you tomorrow. And until then, trade consciously. Bye for now.